Howdy, howdy. Welcome on into the pre-show before the free show. And happy Wednesday. Halfway through this week. How about that?
How about that, Mallory Hartley?
Halfway through doing the show.
Well, kind of.
Sort of.
You're still in the front, like at the conclusion of today's show.
Yes, it'll be half.
It'll be half.
Well, really, at the halfway.
Whoa.
The halfway point of today's show will be
Greg
half.
Powers.
Greg Powers.
Next level athlete. Whoa! He's just
I'm totally
materialized.
fangirling right now.
I know, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So, all right, I have a question for you. Either of you. It's kind of a homeowner question. Do you own a home,
Me?
Mallory?
Do I own
Yeah.
a home?
Yeah.
No.
Do you have any children?
No.
Okay. I don't know.
I'm
just asking.
22.
Okay, there are 22-year-old moms out
I
there.
agree,
We're not here
I know.
to shame
There are.
22-year-old moms.
But I just graduated, so.
Okay.
But I guess, I mean, there's some 22
I'm just checking.
Yeah.
I'm
You just want to make sure.
I don't know your bio. I'm just making sure.
But
okay.
no, okay, in conclusion, I do not own a home.
Okay. And
I
you
do
don't have
both
children.
things. I have kids and
a
own a home.
Okay, so yeah, this is you're much more of a contemporary than I am in so many different ways. Okay, I have a question for you. I guess you can answer the question too, Mallory.
Okay.
What is the earliest time that somebody can ring your doorbell and it can be appropriate? Like, obviously, if the house across the street is on fire and they need to ring the doorbell at 3:30 in the morning, by all means. I'm not saying emergency. I'm saying under normal circumstances, what is the early acceptable doorbell ring?
I'm going with 9 a.m., but would not pitch a fit if it was 8 a.m. Any second before 8 a.m., it's not good.
Yeah. It's just a courtesy thing at that point. Like, you're not going to ring somebody's doorbell before 8 a.m.
Because
That's when you go for the knock.
Because my doorbell rang this morning
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow.
at 6:30 a.m.
Wow.
Jeez.
and it was the roofers.
Okay.
Because the roofers
again.
The roofers for your place or
For my place.
Okay.
for my place.
Sometimes the roofers will come and say, "Hey, we're working on the house next door."
And I get it. They want to get out there. They want to start early. They want to, because it's going to be hot, right? They want to get a jump on it. But it was a jarring experience for the doorbell to. My wife literally had to shove me and say, "I think the doorbell just rang."
See, I put this on the roofing company though.
Yeah.
They should have warned you about
They should have given
this.
me a heads up.
Absolutely.
I presumed they were going to start early, and by early I meant 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But 6:30 is early.
So the people
Yeah.
to the left and the right of you both hated you this morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you know who else hated me? My son,
Oh yeah.
Oh.
because he's upstairs sleeping, and he's cruising, cruising and snoozing, have a nice time, and then suddenly there's people walking on his ceiling, and he's like, "What in the world is this?" Like 6:30. I'm just saying, I needed a heads up.
Yes. Right after he gave you that nice card, too.
Give me a nice
And you
card.
had to
I had
go and let these men in and
They
wake him
didn't
up.
come in. They didn't come in.
Did you
but-
get
Go
hail?
on your-
So is this an insurance?
This
play?
is an insurance play. This is an insurance play. The insurance is paying for a roof because of hail. But then yesterday, I also, Mallory, perhaps you noticed that I disappeared.
Yeah, you
Middle
didn't
of
even
the
come
day.
and say bye. Like, you
I
just
did not have
disappeared.
time.
I had a question for you, and I went back there, and
I-
Will's like, yeah, he's gone. I was like,
I was into
good.
the ether, and that is because I got a call from my wife, who said, "Hey, there's water in the dining room." I go,
Oh,
"Oh,
gosh.
crap."
So
Oh,
you had to rush home.
So I had to
that,
run home.
Okay, that I understand.
I had a legit emergency. I ran home. She told me the story. She was turning a faucet outside, like to water the lawn. Faucet starts, spitting and stuff like that. All this fun stuff. And then so she turns it off. She goes inside, and there's water on the floor in the dining room, which is adjacent to that faucet. And I'm going, oh crap. And so I go and I take the water key and I turn off the water to the house.
Nice.
Call a plumber.
Very manly.
Thank you. I am very manly. And their plumber comes out, and it is about as painless and as easy of a fix as it could have been, because it was just a broken faucet. Like, they had to go out and just replace the faucet, which ended up being in the low hundreds of dollars, and in the 30-minute window of fixing, as opposed to my wife and I were already thinking, we're like, what if they have to like drill into the foundation? Like, what if they have to tear up the floors? What if they have to get to a pipe?
Been there, done that.
Dude, I was sweating bullets.
Do you want to know? Mine wasn't plumbing, though. Mine was I had a house that had an air conditioning, like one of the pipes that went to the air conditioning unit was in the concrete.
No.
And the air conditioning went out, and they're like, it's leaking in the slab.
Dude, my nightmare.
Hashtag dad probs.
Doesn't owning a home sound awesome, Mallory?
I was just about to say, I still live with my parents, so I'm really glad I don't have to deal with this.
Let me just tell you
now.
Stay as long as you can.
Yes, I'm planning on
Cherish it. For the love of God, cherish it. All right, hit the theme expo. Let's go!
Free money! Free
Hey, how to sing blue thing. Shot glass in your hand.
Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a show coming to you through the miracle of the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. I still don't have a nickname for you. We got to come up with a nickname.
Just call me by my real name until then.
Okay. Is it Margaret?
Michelle.
Michelle. It's Mallory Hartley. Hi, Mallory.
Hi.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course. It's fun. I'll be
Yeah.
here tomorrow, too.
Yeah,
And Friday.
And Friday.
Mhm,
Okay. No,
mhm.
it sounds like you're having fun.
I am.
Yeah.
I've got a big smile on my face. I don't stop smiling.
It's my favorite. And sitting to my right, he is the recruiting analyst for Dave Campbell's Texas Football. What's your official position with Next Level Athlete? Are you like the Grand Poobah?
President.
The president. The president of Next Level Athlete, our recruiting analyst here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. It's Greg Powers. Hi, Greg.
What's up, y'all?
And a state championship barbecue judge.
I am, and I will flex a little bit here. I couldn't make it work, but I was invited to be a steak cook-off judge.
Dude, you're
Whoa.
kidding me.
this Saturday.
Wait, is it a high school?
It was. I just got the message. I haven't had a chance to do the return call to get more information because I know I can't attend because I'll be out of town. But the voicemail was like, "Hey, I've got a buddy who's running a steak cook-off, and
I think I maybe know where it is because I was a couple of years ago. One of my great regrets in life. I was invited to be. It was in July. I was invited to be a judge at the Whitney Wildcats Booster Club.
it was Whitney.
Steak
This
cook-off.
was a Whitney reach out. So
yeah, so here's the problem. I've never been asked back. I couldn't make it the first time. So if you say no, they're just going to move on. So maybe consider how important this trip is.
Yeah, you gotta go now.
Because the steak, that is one of the great regrets of my life. And I will
I'm
always
committed.
I'm going to now go out of my way to pump up Whitney this year.
To
so
my
I can get invited next year.
To my friends in Whitney, those who are waiting for me to give them a call back, you know who you are. You know you're one of my top friends. I will return your call back. And I am interested to do the steak cook-off thing. I just can't. Like, it's destroying
Heard it
me.
here
rough.
first.
Today is Wednesday, July 7th, 2021, 142 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to American loser Tony Benshoof.
I don't know who that is.
He's an American loser. How do you not know that?
I don't know.
Happy birthday to him. Today is episode 1199. Ooh. On today's show,
Close.
guys, we got This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete, talking all things recruiting across the Lone Star State. In the back half of the show, Powers caught up with Temple athlete. You call him Michael, right? Mikal Harrison Pilot, who is, we call him athlete. Sounds like he's going to be the starting quarterback for Temple this year. I am interested, perhaps after we talk about to Mikal Harrison Pilot, hearing where you project him to play at the next level. So stay tuned for that insight from Greg Parker. That's what we call a lateral tease. It's a lateral tease is later in the show. If we were to tease for something at like 12:07 tomorrow, that would be a vertical tease.
You learn something new every day.
Do it first 4 through the door. Speaking of something new we learn every day.
We sure do. It was Hector Rios, Rob Hadaway, Daniel Agnew, and Aaron Arbuckle. Welcome in, fellas.
What's up, nerds? All right.
Nerds.
I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. And this is This Week
In Cruton.
That was loud.
This Week in Recruiting. We're getting better at this. This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express. Mallory likes it.
I do. I might go get some for lunch today. I say that every time because
It always sounds good.
it always sounds good when we're talking about it.
When you're hungry, that's one of those things that, like, you don't even have to be in a mood for it. You're just like,
No.
that's going to be
I just want to say it, but no BS. Like, no BS. I think I'm working my way through, like, every location. I had it.
You just need, like, the punch card.
I had to.
They should do that. That's a good idea.
So I had to go to on an emergency work situation. I had to journey 3 hours on Monday to College Station. For the 9 to 5.
Sure.
And I tried the Hearn location. I got the 50-50, 2 spicy tenders, 2 regular tenders, and I'll tell you, I threw it. I said I was going to do this. I ordered the biscuit. So I ordered the biscuit, and I thought the biscuit was pretty good with the spicy tender combo. But I still committed to the. I'm still team roll.
That's fine.
But I did give it another shot.
You can be on Team Roll. I just need you to respect Team Biscuit.
Wait.
I can say that I respect Team Biscuit now, and especially the pair up with the spicy tender.
Are you Team Biscuit?
I'm Team Biscuit.
You are?
I am.
I am too. I don't ever meet anybody that's Team
Yeah.
Biscuit.
That's
Right. That's why I
Always
said
Team Roll.
what? Because
I
usually
know,
it's
I
like,
know.
I know.
the
I know.
percentages of Team Biscuit
Yeah,
are so
I'm glad you
low.
can respect it though.
We're outlaws.
I appreciate
We're outlaws.
that.
It's a
That's
good
the-
biscuit.
We are.
It's a good biscuit.
It's a good biscuit. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. A lot to get to. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Her prospect on the rise. It's amazing. Denton Geyer just has a lot of trouble attracting talent. The 2022 wide receiver Jace Wilson. You came away awfully impressed by him at the State 7-on-7 tournament down there in College Station. He only has a pair of Power 5 offers, Kansas and Michigan State.
Go green.
Yep.
But this is a guy, I'll tell you, he certainly passes the eyeball test at 6'4", 185.
Definitely. And, we usually don't do this. Last week, our underclassman of the week was Denton Geyer, quarterback Jackson Arnold, who really played well at the State 7-on-7 tournament. But I'm trying to empty a lot of the notebook out from that. And there's still some underclassmen that I would like to feature, and there are some under-the-radar type of guys. This was one who kind of surprised me. He does have 12 offers, right? So he's got double-digit offers. But he's only got 2 P5 offers. This is a P5 guy, undoubtedly, to me. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Does he make a decision before the season, or does he kind of play it out to see if more schools will be interested? He's really athletic. What I was most impressed with by watching him play really 2 things at the tournament was he didn't weaken over the course of the action. It's a long 2-day stretch, all those games, and it's in the heat. Jace Wilson just seemed to get better and better. And number 2 is for a 6'4", 185-pound guy, he has tremendous ball tracking skills and the ability to high point the ball, which actually gives him more of an advantage with his height. And he loves to play over the top of defensive backs, and he has a knack for doing it. And there are some schools out there who need to get in on this guy. And you hate to see a guy that has to leave the state when there are opportunities available. But listen, if you're listening to this, and especially if you're like in the Big Ten or the Pac-12 or some of these other conferences, get on this guy. If you're looking for a wide receiver, Geyer's Jace Wilson is a dude who's being under-recruited in this state right now, and you need to take advantage of that.
Yeah, he's a guy who's probably going to blow up here pretty soon, and we may have gotten a sneak preview of that down there in College Station. A guy, and look, playing in a Rodney Webb offense, he's going to have opportunities. This is not a guy who's going to finish with 9 catches for 114 yards. He's going to put up some numbers. It may just take somebody coming in early and saying, "All right, we're going to be the guy." And especially on the other end, Jackson Arnold, who is especially who looked especially sharp. That could be a very dangerous pass catch combo.
Pop on his game tape. We're watching highlights here. That's obviously going to be mostly catches. Pop on this game tape because you kind of touched on it. What Rodney Webb's receivers do within their offense is they block.
Mm-hmm.
You can remember Jackson Smith and Jigba, how great of a blocker he was when he wasn't getting the football. Jace is in this same mold. So if you're a coach who likes to run the football but needs a vertical outside threat too, this is a guy that brings both worlds together.
Let's move on now to our commit of the week. And we had a huge variety of options there.
Yes.
Huge variety of options here with our commit of the week. But we are going to land on probably, I would say, the one that maybe had been the biggest surprise to people, and that is Garland wide receiver Jordan Hudson has committed to SMU. The Ponies haul in a guy who is the where is he in the Dave Campbell in the DCTF Hot 100?
I think he's number 21. Let's pull it up.
In the top 30 for sure.
Right.
There is a guy who is by some metrics across nationally is a 4-star prospect. A huge 29 in the DCTF Hot 100. This is a guy who was committed to Oklahoma. He had offers from Texas, TCU, Alabama, Oklahoma, and he's going to go to SMU. Powers. This strikes me as a real game changer for Sonny Dykes.
Well, I mean, just think about last year. I think they're very close, but Preston Stone and Jordan Hudson would probably be the 2 highest rated commitments for SMU from the high school level since the mid-'80s.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are game-changing type of recruits. And we were in a bit of a quandary this week because there were some good commitments. And to pick the commit of the week, you have some options. Do you pick the guy who is the most significant in-state commitment, which we can lean towards? Do you pick the guy who is the highest-rated player in the state of Texas to make a commitment? Maybe he commits out of state, and that's what happened this week with Kelvin Banks, who's a 5-star who committed to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some options here, but I think the significance of this commitment for SMU is resounding because it just speaks to the level that they're playing at now in the recruiting game. They have changed the culture there and the recruiting landscape there because they can now go up against teams that, 5 years ago you would have said this and you would have been like, nah, this ain't happening. Now they're going against Alabama. SMU beat Alabama.
That's exactly right. That's where I want to go with this is we were talking last week about DeVorce Jones,
right?
The El Paso running back who did, in fact, to your point, and you nailed it last week, he committed to Missouri. And I sat here in this chair and I told you, I ain't saying picking against Alabama. Like
right.
When you're talking about that, here's a perfect example. And Missouri is, that's an SEC school. That's obviously a different situation. But for SMU to bow up to some of the very best programs in the state, the very best programs in the nation, and to come away with a legit bona fide blue chipper like this, it's just worth mentioning. Guys, this doesn't happen very much. And it's started to happen more and more thanks to Sonny Dykes. I would say thanks to Rashad Samples, what he's done there. It is remarkable, the sea change that has happened there on the hilltop.
They have a really good recruiting staff, too, that stay pretty dialed in there behind the scenes. They do a really good job identifying talent early. But this is a guy who was committed to Oklahoma 3-4 weeks ago. He essentially decommitted from OU to stay at home and play at SMU.
Mm-hmm.
And he may, this is when you're recruiting at this level, if you're an SMU fan and you're listening to this, when you're recruiting at this level, know that you have to continue to recruit. This isn't over. Jordan Hudson could take visits.
Yeah.
He's going to have other schools that are saying, hey, why go to SMU when you can come to Alabama? And here's our pitch as to why. You have to be able to combat that, and you also have to be able to withstand the recruiting pressure from some of these other schools. Don't be surprised Jordan Hudson takes a visit to Alabama. There's going to be some people who are up in arms. Oh, are we going to lose our top commit? But let's just say that the fact that he did all this, he committed to SMU, that puts you at a different level.
Verbal commitments are non-binding.
Right.
But they don't mean nothing. They're not meaningless. And as a result, like, SMU is at worst in the driver's seat for one of the very best players in the state of Texas. And that is something we haven't been able to say very often. But, I mean, that's 2 years in a row, right? With Preston Stone last year, which is a guy, a 4-star quarterback, between him and now you're getting a guy like Jordan Hudson. Obviously, something is resonating there at SMU. It's impressive.
We can tease some stuff maybe here and there, like things that we're thinking through, ideas for what we want to bring to the fans at TexasFootball.com. This is like a longer conversation I feel like that we could have on some of these topics too, because, SMU is in a unique position. They're the premier transfer destination in America, I think. I think that there are top players who are going to transfer to Alabama and Clemson and, so on and so forth. They're going to get those one-off guys because they are going to fill their classes up with high school prospects. But SMU's in a unique position that they can get elite transfers from college programs, and that gives them the ability to really turn up the pressure on some really nice in-state prospects and make them a priority, which it changes the game in a lot of respects. Say, here are the 10 guys that we're really going after, and you're one of those 10. What's that mean to that guy?
Right. If you're getting both, watch out.
Right.
Watch out. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete, here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. Let's move on to our underclassmen of the week. I'm going to read directly from TexasFootball.com/recruiting here. 2023 Justin Northwest quarterback Jake Strong had a strong showing at the Pylon National Championships and is considered one of the state's top 2023 quarterbacks. Two things here. One, how dare you?
You like that?
How dare you?
I did that. I think I was thinking about you when that.
How dare you? Get out of my lane. And secondly, here's a guy in Jake Strong from Justin Northwest who has a pair of early offers from Western Kentucky, Illinois State, but you think that the interest level in Jake Strong is rising, maybe thanks in part, at least in part, to what he showed this weekend at the Pylon National Championships.
Well, even more than that, he backed it up. He's been a guy that does it on tape. He came out of the gate swinging last year and stepped into a leadership role as a sophomore, playing at the varsity level at a pretty prominent school in the Dallas area. And he does a little bit of everything well. And I think as more people have the opportunity to see him, that he's just going to catch on. Oh, by the way, he did have a strong showing at the 7-on-7 this weekend, but he also had really strong showings at camps at Baylor, TCU, SMU, and Texas A&M. And he's on the radar with all those schools now, and they're recruiting him pretty seriously, even though they haven't offered yet. He's a guy that's going to have double-digit offers. Everybody's going to really want to come after him. And I think that what I really enjoy about watching on Jake's tape is his calm demeanor and leadership abilities. I mean, the offense runs really smooth with him, and I think he racked up over 500 rushing yards as well last year, so he can move the football on the ground when need be, but he's extremely accurate.
Yeah, and he's a guy that, again, last week we were talking about Jackson Arnold being maybe the top quarterback in the state in 2023.
Right.
I'm not here to say that I think Jake Strong is going to be the top quarterback in the class of 2023. What I am saying is we have spent a lot of time focusing on the class of 2022 in quarterbacks in the state of Texas because it is remarkable. We're going to talk about them here in just a moment. But we haven't spent a ton of time looking at 2023 quarterbacks. Guys are starting to emerge because there is a little bit of an opening there for a team. There's not that number one, locked and loaded guy that everybody's paying attention to right now. And Jake Strong could fit in very nicely into that crop of 2023 quarterbacks. Again, I'm not saying he's the number one quarterback in the state of Texas in 2023. What I'm saying is that list is not set yet.
Right.
And he's starting to make some noise and say, I want to be on that short list.
What I've identified for the class of 2023, and I actually had a conversation with one of the scouting services national recruiting guys here in the past week as we were discussing quarterbacks in this 2023 cycle. Is I don't think that you're going to have that top end presence in the national rankings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we only concentrate on state rankings here, but in the from the national perspective, I don't think that you're going to see those top 50-ish type of guys nationally in our 2023 in-state cycle, but the depth is extremely good and the pack is tight.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of guys. I think the Texas State quarterback rankings, if you go to 24/7 Sports and Rivals and some of the other places, and then you come here, you're going to see a variance, I think, as to those guys mixed and matched up differently, because I don't think it's as clear cut. There are going to be disagreements next year because it is a tight pack.
Yeah, most certainly. Let's round it all out, talking 2022 quarterbacks with our recruit of the week. Our recruit of the week is 2022 Austin Westlake quarterback Cade Klubnik.
You've heard of him before?
I have. The name rings a bell. This was the guy. The Austin Westlake quarterback, of course, led them to led Austin Westlake to a state championship last year. He was at the Elite 11 this weekend in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
At Elite 11, and he came out with MVP honors. He at the nation's most prestigious quarterback camp. He is a Clemson commit. We have him rated as the number 2 quarterback prospect in the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Hot 100, behind fellow Elite 11 finalist Quinn Ewers, South Lake Carroll. Bridgeland quarterback Connor Wigman is in that mix as well, the Texas A&M commit, as well as Flower Mound quarterback Nick Evers were all in the Elite 11 as well. Greg Powers, is Cade Klubnik the best quarterback in the state of Texas in 2022?
Well, I mean, I think he has an argument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they beat South Lake Carroll in the state championship game. Cade beat Quinn Ewers at the Elite 11, but Quinn Ewers beat Cade at the Dallas Elite 11, and to say beat is a weird term to use for a camp performance because you really don't get any W's or L's, but he was named the overall MVP, had a strong performance throughout the course of 3 different days of competition there, led his team to the 7-on state or the 7-on championship at the Elite 11 as well, that is combined with the opening finals that's out there now. It's a much more select, smaller group that comes out there. I think just skill position guys now go to the opening, so it's not like the 150 guys that it used to be. And we've seen it, and I've kind of talked about this, if not publicly, but within our own private discussions, that a lot of people might be selling Klubnik a little bit short because he had an AC sprain. And he was recovering from that, and his arm strength wasn't 100% all the way there. And what you were seeing is a great quarterback working not at 100%, but still giving his all and making all these wonderful things happen, and that's not even the best him.
Yeah.
So that's what we've kind of had him cemented in at number 2 within the state rankings, and I'm proud to say that I think we've had him higher than everybody else. We'll see how long that lasts if we now get if someone else now elevates Klubnik up. I feel pretty confident that we'll keep Quinn at number 1, Cade at number 2, but it's open for debate right now. I think that Cade is now what we do here at Texas football is we name 5 5-star guys, right? So if you're in the top 5, you're a 5-star. 3 of them have been named so far. Yeah. And
one of them is Ewers.
He's the number 1 prospect in the state. Is Klubnik now in that and he already was, he's number 11. Sure. He's 6 spots away. Is he now firmly entrenched in that 5-star discussion? I think that's a valid discussion to have, but I'm glad that you kind of asked about Ewers because we in the grand scope or the bigger scope of the QB rankings because we featured Klubnik a lot. We've talked about him a lot because he's always seems to be doing something. But if you win the Elite 11 MVP, you deserve to be the recruit of the week.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's hard to uncouple Klubnik and Ewers. Both of them are elite quarterbacks. That's fair to say. Both of them are committed to elite programs. Quinn Ewers committed to Ohio State. Klubnik committed to Clemson. Both of them guided their team to the 6A Division I state championship last year. It's impossible, I think, to uncouple them. And but I also think, here's another thing. This is why I don't think I could do your job. I think part of it is unfair to compare them because
Right.
they do deserve to stand on their own merits. I think it is okay to simply say both these quarterbacks are super good, and both Clemson and Ohio State are going to be awful glad to have them. That's an okay statement to have. We don't have to get into this conversation of well, who's better than who.
Right.
It's like they can both be awesome, and we can just let that stand as is.
Well, and you're going to go to a system in college. You play within a system in high school. So, I mean, are you a better fit for your system, or is it your talent? I mean, all those questions are answered inherently as time goes by. But thinking about you or listening to you talk right now about Klubnik and Ewers throws me back to Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. And that was a huge debate nationally. Who was the number one guy and who was the number two guy? And it was always Trevor Lawrence who ends up on top, right? Trevor Lawrence is bigger. His arm's a little stronger. He's the number one guy in the rankings. He's the number one pick in the NFL draft.
He's got the hair.
But in the last game that they played against each other, Justin Fields was victorious as Ohio State beat Clemson. You know, so some of those things aren't always as clear cut. Would you rather have the number one guy and lose, or would you rather have the number two guy and win?
And that's the thing.
Not saying that anybody's a loser or going to lose or
but
whatever.
It's also, the thing is, like, let's be honest, how productive is the conversation? Like, I think it's like we can have a conversation of, you know, who's better. I think
Right.
that's fair. But as long as you land on, I think, the undeniable truth, which is both these guys are really good, and we're trying to slide a piece of paper between, you know, these two guys. I think that's where you ultimately have to land. And that's why I don't know if I necessarily get super caught up in the Lawrence versus Fields or the Klubnik versus Lawrence type thing. Because in the end, they're both great. I mean, you saw Lawrence and Fields both went top 10 in the NFL draft. Is that right?
I
Where'd
can't
Fields
remember
go?
if Fields went in the top 10 or maybe he was number 11. But,
Number 11.
you know, like
Yeah.
a top first-round pick.
Top half of the first round of the NFL draft. We don't know how the careers of Cade Klubnik and Quinn Ewers are going to play out, but I think that, you know, considering their standing right now, they will be at least in the mix to be drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. It's okay to just say both these guys are great, and so I don't necessarily get all caught up, and I don't know if, you know, please go to textfootball.com/recruiting and debate with your friends by sending them the link, but I don't know if I necessarily go through and lose sleep at night wondering who's number one. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and here's what we can say. We're proud of Cade Klubnik for going out to the Elite 11,
There you go.
winning MVP, and representing the great state of Texas with bringing home that honor to Texas.
When's the last time a Texas guy was Elite 11 MVP? Gotta be a minute, right?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
was it it would have been Kyler Murray or probably Kyler Murray.
Let's
Kyler
see.
Murray led his team to the 7-1 championship that year. I'm going to guess it's him.
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick. Elite 11, their Wikipedia page. Oh, come on. We'll go to that. Okay, so let's see. The last time, I don't know if they list the MVPs. Maybe not.
Did Shane Bouchel win MVP?
I don't think so. We're trying to.
Okay.
You're listening to live coverage of us trying to figure out who the MVPs were. But in any case, the point is, I think that it's fair to look at this and say, you know what, they're all pretty good, and that's okay by us.
So we can run through. I'll just run through quickly. So 2018, Spencer Rattler,
Okay, not from Texas.
not from Texas. 2017, Justin Fields.
Not from Texas. This is
2016,
Yeah. Kyler?
Tua.
Tua.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
So I mean, these guys are. Have you heard of any of these guys before?
I guess it wouldn't be Kyler in 2016, though. Yeah.
It would have been Shea Patterson, who was. He's an original.
Michigan.
I don't know that we
That's
can-
an interesting debate.
I don't know
there.
that we can
Right.
count that.
Let's get into that.
We
Yeah.
can't count that. 2014, Blake Barnett.
Mm-mm.
I'm only going to go back to 2010.
That's
okay. 2013, Sean White,
No.
who went to Auburn, who I don't know that much about.
Boy, Sean White. Yeah. Obviously didn't work out for him, or else we would know him.
Yeah.
And I'm having to go page by page.
Yeah.
So Ashanti Woolard, who
Mhm.
went to UCLA and then transferred to South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And look up what class Murray was in, just so we know.
Kyler Murray was class 2016, right? No, 2014 or 2015 rather. Class 2015.
Jameis Winston. So I
Uh-huh.
mean, I'm not finding any.
Yeah. So it's been a minute at least since we had a Texan win the Elite 11 MVP. We'll find that information, and Greg Powers will tweet it at GPowersScout. Follow him there. Follow Next Level Athlete,
I
Next Level
find-
D1. See
Here's a cool one though. I'm looking. Jeff Driscoll was the 2010 MVP, and like 2 pictures over from him is Archie Bradley, who is a reliever now in Major League Baseball.
Next level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Stay right there to introduce the next segment. We are at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Hey, Mallory, should people subscribe to TexasFootball.com/subscribe?
Yes. I would say miss the FOMO, but they already did miss the FOMO. So.
Make Mallory happy. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. Is that fair?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
good.
fair.
That's fine. That's what I'm doing. Powers, who did you speak to this week?
So we caught up with really great kid, Temple's Mikal Harrison Pilot, a man who now has over 30 scholarship offers.
But other than that,
30.
But other than that, though, people are sleeping on
He's
him.
going to be a junior.
Man,
Oh
that's
my
crazy.
gosh. He's also a 3-sport athlete, too.
Yeah, he does everything, and he does it with class. So that's what you really like about this guy.
He is a name to know. He is Mikal Harrison Pilot, and he caught up with our Greg Powers here on Texas Football Today.
Greg Powers, TexasFootball.com, and I'm out here with Mikal Harrison Pilot, man. Just things have been crazy for you, man.
Yes,
What's it?
oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't even know really where to begin. I guess I'm just going to jump right in with the hard-hitting questions. All right, I'm going to
Okay.
jump right in with them.
Okay.
You play everything.
Yes, sir.
You can play a little safety, wide receiver. You can quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
But I think you're closing in on 25 offers. Maybe you have more than 25.
I have 30 now.
30
Yeah,
offers,
yes, sir.
man. 30 offer man I'm talking to.
Yes,
That's
sir.
really impressive. I can remember, I think, when you had 0.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yes, sir.
what are the colleges saying, man? Do you have offers coming in at all different kinds of
Yeah.
positions?
So some are wide receiver, or some are DB, or some are just both. So they won't know. Like the ones that as athlete, they won't know until I get there, and they'll see what I'm best at, and they put me there. But I'm gonna still be playing both sides either or. Just depends where I go.
Still 2 more years of high
sir.
school ball left. Maybe it'll sort itself out. But
yeah.
like as you're starting, is there a position you feel like you love more than one more than the other?
Well, ever since I came to wide receiver, it's been that. But I mean, I just want to play. I really don't care what it is, DB, wide receiver. It don't matter to me. I just want to play. So.
30 offers in. Just kind of talk about the big picture, what it's like to actually have that many schools targeting you. Is it hard to balance it all? But I know it's got to be a blessing.
Yeah, so I just been enjoying it ever since I got my first one from Baylor. It's just been fun, just enjoying it. And I just know when September 1st come around, when they can talk to me, it's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be just long. Right now, I'm just talking to them, so it's not as bad. But September 1st, when they can talk to us, it's gonna be a busy day.
I got a feeling he's going to be thinking about that cut down list around September 2nd. You know what I mean? Baylor was the first offer. What did it mean to you to get that in-state offer, big-time school, not too far from home, but to know you went from 0 offers to P5 level?
Just knowing that I got people from Thibault High School went up there, so it's like home to me because it's 30 minutes up the road. And the coach, I love the coach. The great relationships I build. Coach Nance, that's my guy right there. But yeah, it was just enjoyable. It was just unexpected, and I just been waiting for it. So it's just been fun, really.
30 offers, we can't talk about all of them, but what were some of the wow moments when school X, Y, or Z stepped up to the plate that you thought, oh, well, this is one that could change my life?
Okay, it was Notre Dame. When they came, I was just excited because it's Notre Dame. They just almost went to the national championship, and just don't know how they play and how they beat or how they play. It was just a joyful one because like I never in my life would have thought Notre Dame, like that's a big school right there. So that was the one that really just caught on and just like shocked me.
Any more you're still hungry for? Who's out there that you got circled to say, I got to get an offer from this school before I commit?
I'll say Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Oklahoma, or Florida too. Yes, sir.
Some big schools still out there. I think that you camped recently. Alabama, how'd that go? And what was the campus like? Working with coaches, seeing Nick Saban, that kind of stuff.
So I did 2 sessions. I did first session wide receiver and second session safety. And they love me at both, so they'll keep in touch with me. I've been talking to Coach Sabota for a little minute, so I've always been keeping in touch with them. The campus was wonderful. It was because that's my favorite college right there. So just going there, just always being happy everywhere I went. Everything was just fun.
Give me the one thing that you feel like you can't live without when it's time to go and pick a college, and maybe it's your parents, what they can't do without. What's one thing Harrison Pilots can't live without when it comes to college?
What can I live without?
What are you looking for?
Oh, a college that, so I want to major in business. I'm going to be an entrepreneur and just really building relationships and who's really there for me and not that who needs me more than I need them. and just them developing us more as an adult instead of like just football, just everything out of life and all that. So that's what I'm looking for.
As you know, you're always one of our favorites, man. It seems like you really have your stuff together. 30 offers on the table. That's Mikal Harrison Pilot. Thanks for the time, man, and good luck with that decision-making process. And, of course, good luck with the 2021 season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There is Mikal Harrison Pilot, the athlete from Temple. We caught up with him at the State Summit tournament. All right, so I teased this at the beginning.
Now let me ask, where would you play him?
Where would I play him?
You're Coach Stewart.
It's a good question.
Greg Tepper is now Coach Stewart.
I'm Scott Stewart. Well, Scott Stewart is much smarter than I am as far as everything is concerned. I want the ball in his hands. I'd start him at quarterback. I put him at quarterback. I want him to be a playmaker with the ball in his hands. Now that's me, but that's also the high school football perspective.
Right.
From a scouting perspective, where do you think he lands?
Safety.
Safety. You think he's a safety?
And here's why I'm going to play devil's advocate now and say why I wouldn't play him at quarterback.
Okay, I love it.
I could play him both ways if he plays wide receiver. If he's my quarterback,
you can't play him both ways.
If he's my quarterback, I can't risk it.
Not at 6A. No, exactly right. Like you see like guys like you remember Dane Yench from Grandview where he was playing basically safety and quarterback. At 6A, that's not going to play, especially in a rough and tumble district like District 12. So, yeah, but I don't know. That's fair. I would put him at quarterback. Now, do you think he lands a safety at the next level?
I do, and not that his tape really a lot of these offers have come off of his wide receiver tape. He played safety his freshman year, played more wide receiver last season, and we'll see more. Obviously this year he's grown, but man, thinking about having that size and speed in the defensive backfield, I feel like I can find a receiver. Yeah. But can I find a guy like him at safety? That's a harder position to fill. So that's why I like him there.
Whoever gets him is going to have quite a playmaker in Temple athlete Mikal Harrison Pilot. Let's go over to Mallory Hartley for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Well, Matt Stepp left a comment in the comment section and said that the last quarterback that won MVP at Elite 11 was back in 2005, and that was Matt Stafford.
Matthew Stafford.
Highland
Okay.
Park.
Matt Stafford, the last Texas quarterback to win Elite 11 MVP. So I guess that's a 16-year drought that Cade Klubnik was able to snap there.
It's pretty awesome.
And then, do we have any other final thoughts?
We do. This one's so 2 people left name suggestions for me.
Nickname suggestions?
Yes.
Of course, our regular producer, Ashley Pickle, who's out this week, she is known as the Duchess of the Dorks.
Yes, and speaking of that, somebody suggested that it should be the substitute Duchess of the Dorks.
The substitute Duchess. Yeah. How do you feel about being the substitute Duchess? Because here's the thing. If you're a substitute teacher, you get treated like garbage.
You're
you know
right.
what I mean? You shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Love you substitute teachers, but you do. I don't know. That's we'll workshop that. What was the other one?
Malpal.
Malpal?
Yes, I've actually gotten called that before. So.
Well, tune in tomorrow to find out which one I decide.
Are we going to decide tomorrow? Are you going to decide tomorrow?
I'm going to think on it. Malpal's got some...
it has some potential.
Got some potential. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks to Temple athlete Mikal Harrison Pilot for being our guest. I almost said Ashley Pickle. For Mallory Hartley and Greg Powers, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.